TikTok has given rise to some truly unforgettable characters, but few spark as much debate as Fuzzz99, Mal to those who know him behind the screen. With 445.6 thousand followers and counting, Mal has become a self-proclaimed champion for LGBTQ+ rights, body positivity, and gender affirmation. Admirable causes, sure, but somewhere along the way, his message gets tangled in a web of controversy, exaggerated theatrics, and, well, cringe. Lots of cringe. In a world where social media thrives on trends, Fuzzz99 has carved out a unique niche with unapologetic energy, eccentric humor, and an open exploration of identity. He is quick and happy, maybe too happy, to explain terms relating to sexuality and the ever-increasing gender options to his many followers who sometimes request these definitions.
Probably aromantic, too? I don't really know what that is.
People who identify as aromantic asexuals identify as aro-ace for short, and also fall under the asexual umbrella. Hey. People who identify as aro-ace experience little to no romantic attraction, aka being aromantic, as well as aro-aces experience little to no sexual attraction, aka being asexual. Hey. Can aro-ace friends still be in relationships and date?
Known for their bold embrace of he, they pronouns, controversies, and a queer identity that challenges traditional norms, Fuzzz99 redefines what it means to be authentic online. He's a creator who's unashamedly himself, loudly so. His fans, affectionately dubbed Fuzzballs, love his boldness and commitment to breaking societal norms. He draws attention to important issues like self-exploration and acceptance, which is commendable, but for every Fuzzball cheering him on, there's a skeptic rolling their eyes at his over-the-top delivery, penchant for controversies, and tendency to make every moment about him. Mal has built brick by brick a niche that's as distinct as it is divisive. From his loud antics to his questionable grooming choices, there's a lot to unpack about his online presence. Is he a passionate advocate, misunderstood by the masses? Or has his quest for attention overshadowed the causes he claims to represent? We're about to unpack the chaotic world of Fuzzz99, highlighting the good, the bad, and the downright perplexing. Buckle up, because this is one TikTok rabbit hole you won't soon forget. So let's dive into the whirlwind that is Fuzzz99.
It's fun! I shouldn't have expected anything else from you.
First impressions matter, and Mal ensures you don't miss his. His signature "I'm glad you asked" delivered in a grating drawl while he practically climbs into your screen is hard to ignore. Add in his tendency to stomp his feet mid-rant and the constant yelling, and you've got a recipe for sensory overload. It's performative, sure, but often veers into a character of itself, leaving viewers more baffled than enlightened.
How are my pronouns he, they? Well, I'm glad you asked.
It's not just content, it's performative art, but not the kind you'd pay to see. Mal's persona hinges on being unhinged, as in being unapologetically loud, which can work in moderation. But with him, there is no moderation. I doubt the word even exists in his vocabulary. It's like he's constantly at a 10 when most conversations call for a 5. His exaggerated expressions, foot-stomping, and in-your-face delivery often feel more like a desperate cry for attention than genuine engagement. Advocacy doesn't have to mean shouting over everyone else in the room or at the other end of the screen, and yet that seems to be his default setting. Fuzzz99 is that TikToker who thinks they can scream loud enough to make an impact. The reality? They're just yelling for attention, and the noise is unbearable. Let's get this out of the way. His whole chaotic "I'm different" persona is tired. This TikToker genuinely looks traumatized by his yelling. Just watch this, I'm sure you won't blame them.
Our pronouns don't equal your gender! I can say that louder for y'all in the back if you want me to, too. You can identify as any gender you want and use whatever pronouns make you feel most comfortable. Meaning you can identify as a male, but use she, her pronouns if that's what you like. I identify as just me. Whatever that is. I'm just me, baby. And I like to use gay as an umbrella term, like how queer people use queer for themselves. Because that's what feels right to me. Duh.
We get it, you're unapologetic. But it's hard to be impressed when this same shtick is recycled over and over in increasingly obnoxious ways. Okay, maybe different LGBTQ topics, but still the same sort of delivery. Lots of yelling, lots of emojis, plenty of flags everywhere, the silly jokes that genuinely make no sense. His content is like an unfiltered meme machine that never knows how to stop. But let's take a step back to where it all started. Before Mal was Fuzzz99, the queer activist and self-proclaimed spokesperson for the misunderstood. Mal's early videos reveal glimpses of his transition from a woman with long hair and a wardrobe of feminine clothes to the person he is now. There's nothing wrong with embracing change, of course. Transitioning is deeply personal, and his willingness to share parts of that journey deserves some credit. Yet, even this is presented with the same over-the-top energy that makes everything he does feel performative. Take, for instance, his newly formed habit of cutting his hair into spooky or holiday-themed styles and turning every snip into an event. Sure, self-expression is great, but do we really need a play-by-play of every haircut?
Spooky, spooky haircut. Spooky, spooky. Hey. Hey.
It's not revolutionary, it's hair. Similarly, his dramatic discarding of feminine clothes, complete with a filmed purge of white and black hangers, left many scratching their heads. What exactly was the message here? If he wanted to symbolize embracing color and individuality, wouldn't swapping them out for rainbow hangers have been more, well, on brand?
I like skateboarding. I like playing video games. I like making art. And I like getting fucked up with my friends.
These theatrics don't stop with his aesthetic choices. Mal proudly identifies as a skateboarder and artist, and has mentioned his love of getting effed up with friends. It's not exactly groundbreaking for a young person to enjoy a carefree lifestyle, but Mal isn't exactly young. At 28, pushing 30, the rebellious teen bit starts to feel less charming and more concerning. Being queer and creative doesn't excuse you from taking your life seriously. At some point you have to wonder, is this a persona, or is he genuinely stuck in perpetual adolescence? Their content is a potpourri of chaotic storytelling, not so sharp comedic timing, and relatable yet boundary-pushing commentary. Fans resonate with their ability to turn mundane moments into viral gold, while skeptics grapple with the nuances of their identity and relationship choices. But beyond the laughs and confusion lies a deeper message, embracing fluidity and celebrating individuality in all its forms. Again, to many, his whole he, they, pronouns thing feels like a trendy accessory rather than a genuine expression of self. We're in 2025 and pronouns aren't supposed to be the punchline to a joke, especially when the humor behind it is built on self-mockery. Let's not even get into the whole body positivity gimmick, because while self-acceptance is important, there's a fine line between confidence and oversaturation. His entire act can be condensed into, hey, look at me, I'm trans-mask, I'm gay, but I have a girlfriend, and I use he, they pronouns, and my nana is homophobic, and I lost my sub-teaching job because I'm queer, but don't worry, I'm okay. Rainbows and flags and fuzzballs.
I got outed to my homophobic nana exactly a year ago today, and I never talked about it on here.
Just how many times can you repeat the same tired message of I'm different before it just becomes predictable? Mal's videos often feature him stomping around his room or half plopped out of a window, yelling at his camera like it personally wronged him, and making exaggerated hand gestures that feel more like a performance than a conversation. The problem with this approach is that it alienates as much as it entertains. Advocacy, especially for marginalized communities, thrives on connection and relatability. But with Mal, the connection is often drowned out by the sheer volume of his delivery. His infamous I'm glad you asked opening is a prime example. It's meant to sound witty and approachable, but after hearing it for the 50th time, it comes off as rehearsed and insincere. Add in his tendency to lean uncomfortably close to the camera, And the whole thing feels more like a TikTok jump scare than a call to action. Let's not forget about his penchant for updating followers on every minor detail of his life. Spooky haircuts, birthday plans, what he had for breakfast. Okay, that was a bit of an exaggeration, but you get what I mean. These updates might be endearing in small doses, but Mal doesn't seem to understand the concept of restraint. Not every moment of your life needs to be content. When your audience starts wondering, why am I watching this? You've officially lost the plot. Also, why is there Venmo and Cash App in his bio? Is this some sort of money-making scheme? He doesn't run a charity, and he still lives with his parents. So, what exactly are people supposed to donate money for? Equipment to film your TikToks? Well, lately he's added these links to his Linktree rather than that being the first thing you see when you open his profile. And let's talk about those teeth. Look, body positivity is great, but there's a line between self-love and basic hygiene. His yellowing teeth and flat-out horrible brushing technique are distractingly bad, to the point where even Dr. Noel McIntosh might agree they could use some serious attention.
I don't know why so many of you want to see me brush my teeth on here, but hey, give the people what they want. Whoa! My toothbrush versus my brother's toothbrush. Like, if your bristles look like that, I feel like you're brushing your teeth too hard. Alright, so first I'm gonna wet it. Skirt. Now the real secret is, you gotta wet it one more time. Woo! Card! Open a notch! It has the juice! It has the juice! I can't imagine a more beautiful thing! Hey, baby! Look at me see those teeth. Woo!
The look on her face mirrors that of the many viewers who unfortunately had to encounter that TikTok video. Pro tip, Mal. If your message is worth hearing, don't let your oral health distract from it. One thing Fuzzz99 can't be accused of is shying away from the complexities of identity. In an online ecosystem often dominated by surface-level discourse, Mal dives into lesser-known facets of gender and sexuality with fervor, educating his audience about terms and identities that many might not even know exist. From omnisexuality and being a Demi boy to sapphic history and intersex awareness, his content often feels like a whirlwind crash course in the ever-expanding vocabulary of LGBTQ+ identities. A random scroll through his TikTok or Instagram pages will have an array of LGBTQ+ lexicon jump at you in all their iridescent glory. If there's anything about Fuzzz99, he doesn't hold back on his colors. He takes the awareness-raising part of his advocacy very seriously, too. Take omnisexuality, for example, a term often mistaken for pansexuality. It refers to the capacity to be attracted to individuals regardless of gender, but within awareness of gender as part of the attraction. Mal's exploration of this topic feels genuine. He breaks it down in layman's terms, often emphasizing the need for people to respect the nuances of how individuals identify. While some might roll their eyes at what they perceive as label overload, Mal presents these concepts with a sense of urgency, as though he's on a mission to ensure every identity gets its moment in the spotlight. However, his delivery can sometimes overshadow his message. His trademark loudness and performative style may alienate viewers who might otherwise engage with the content. The information is valuable, but the presentation can feel like a wall of sound, making it hard to absorb the depth of what he's trying to convey. Fuzzz99 also tackles the concept of being a demi-boy, a gender identity where someone partially but not wholly identifies as male. Given his own trans-masculine journey, this topic seems particularly close to heart. He discusses the fluidity of gender with the conviction of someone who's lived it, often drawing parallels between his personal experiences and broader societal misconceptions. While his insights can be enlightening, there's a recurring theme of self-centeredness in his discussions. It's not uncommon for him to veer off into anecdotes about his own life, which, while relatable to some, can feel like a detour from the educational value of the content. Still, there's an undeniable passion in how he speaks about Demi boy identity, a passion that, at its best, can inspire empathy and understanding. Mall's foray into sapphic history and intersex awareness are perhaps some of his most commendable efforts. He's not just talking about trendy buzzwords here. He's digging into histories and identities that have long been overlooked or erased. His enthusiasm for sapphic history, the stories of women loving women throughout time, is palpable. He weaves in narratives of queer women from history, often pointing out how their contributions have been sidelined in mainstream accounts. Similarly, his focus on intersex awareness sheds light on an identity that is frequently misunderstood or ignored altogether.
Intersex Awareness Day was 2 days ago! God, we gotta go make their flag! I can't believe I haven't made the intersex flag yet. Intersex friends have bodies that don't fit into the stereotypical cis male and cis female bodies. Some intersex friends are assigned intersex at birth. Others find out during puberty. And some can go their whole entire lives without knowing that they are intersex. Being born intersex, though, is about as common as being born with red hair, and is not any kind of birth defect. Being intersex is natural, and intersex people have existed since the dawn of time. However, the intersex flag has only existed since it was created back in 2013 by a person named Morgan Carpenter. The intersex flag is comprised of a golden field with a purple circle emblem and avoids referencing gender stereotypes in every way. The purple circle in the middle also represents wholeness, completeness, and potentialities of intersex people. They have a right to be who and how they want to be. And that, my friends, is pretty cool. Yeah! And we love all our intersex friends! Yeah!
Mall highlights the medical and societal challenges faced by intersex individuals and reminds us of the existence of these people in a world with so many dizzying labels and flags. But as with many of his topics, Mall's execution sometimes undermines his intent. His passion can cause him to be rather boisterous, making it hard for viewers to separate the valuable insights from the noise. There's a fine line between being an advocate and being overbearing, and Mall often straddles or outright crosses that line. Mall's discussions on bisexuality and its many misconceptions are some of his more grounded pieces of content. He addresses the stereotypes. Bisexuals are like men and women equally, unfaithful or just going through a phase, yada yada, with a mix of humor and frustration. It's clear he's speaking from a place of personal understanding, which adds authenticity to his arguments.
What are some common lies about bisexuality? Well, I'm glad you asked. Bisexual people, like men and women, the exact same amount. Bisexuality isn't limited to just liking cis men and cis women. And bisexuality itself is a spectrum. Meaning, it is not 50-50 between what genders a person is attracted to. Some bi friends have a strong gender preference, and others are more fluid. Yeah. Hold on here, back on that gender thing. Last time I checked, bi meant two. Which means they only like two genders because there's only two. The definition of bisexuality is a person who's attracted to two or more genders. Emphasis on the or more part. Meaning the minimum of genders a bisexual person can be attracted to is two. That is the minimum, baby. Just like how we live in a huge world filled with all different kinds of languages, someone who's bilingual means they know at least 2 languages, but that there's still so many more languages out there. They just know a minimum of 2. Roll the train, me please. I despise you. But even if a bi person is dating a man, that just means they're straight! Just because a bi person is dating a certain someone doesn't mean that their bisexuality goes away. They are still attracted to whatever genders that they are attracted to, and no matter what, they are valid as bisexuals. And we love all our bisexual friends! Yeah!
In these moments, Mall's delivery feels not as performative and more conversational. he manages to strike a balance between educating his audience and venting about the societal pressures that bisexual individuals face. It's a rare glimpse of Mull at his best. Passionate, informed, and relatable. Excuse the Cowboy Bebop part, though. Mull, or Fuzzz99, has built a TikTok persona that thrives on relatability, often inviting his viewers into deeply personal aspects of his life. While his loud delivery and exaggerated mannerisms might overshadow his message at times, certain recurring topics in his content reveal a more complex, vulnerable side. His discussions about binders, his period struggles, and his so-called gender adventures are some of the most telling examples of his duality, offering both moments of education and self-reflection alongside his usual performative antics. One area where Fuzzz99 has on lock is his commitment to educating others about binders, compression garments used by many transgender and non-binary individuals to flatten their chest and alleviate gender dysphoria. With a blend of enthusiasm and expertise, he walks his viewers through the do's and don'ts of binding safely, emphasizing the importance of proper sizing, limited wear time, and listening to one's body.
I haven't talked about binders in a while, so we're gonna talk about this. And you should never, ever double bind. Don't do that. Do not put trans tape over your vest and then a binder, because that is super duper dangerous and can lead to your body getting hurt. However, if you have really large oobies and binders don't seem to work for you because your oobies just pop out of them, then you can use trans tape while you're wearing a binder to contour the outside of your body to keep your oobies in place. But again, never ever put trans tape over your chest and then a binder over it, because that is dangerous. And I don't want to see you or anyone get hurt.
For many younger viewers navigating their own gender identities, Mull's content on binders can be a lifeline. He explains concepts like trans tapes, binder breaks, the risks of overuse, and the importance of investing in high-quality brands, all in a tone that feels approachable and supportive. However, his insistence on calling his audience baby throughout his videos, even in these tutorials, can make the delivery feel infantilizing or overly familiar, depending on the viewer's perspective. Another recurring theme in Mull's content is his experience with periods, a topic he tackles with surprising candor. For someone who identifies as trans-masculine, periods can be a source of significant gender dysphoria, and Mull doesn't shy away from sharing the physical and emotional toll they take on him. From the mood swings and cramps to the frustration of navigating gendered products like tampons and pads, he paints an unfiltered picture of what it's like to menstruate as a trans person.
My period is actively trying to kill me right now, and I'm terrified to go to sleep tonight because 2 nights ago I was woken up at 4 in the morning because it felt like somebody was pinching my stomach and my back so hard that it made me violently ill and wanted to puke and had heartburn and also had the chills at the same time and was scared and was going to check myself into a hospital because I literally was just so terrified from this pain that I was woken up to. And come to find out, this is a thing, which is whack. Was anyone gonna tell me this was a thing, or was I just supposed to experience it on my own? And then last night at 3 in the morning, I woke up to go pee, and as I'm at the top of the stairs, the thought of my period causing me harm and almost checking myself into a hospital popped into my head, and I fell down a flight of freaking stairs and landed in a radiator heater thing, and I am now injured, and my foot is swollen. I don't think it's broken, but I can't move, all because of my period. And now I'm terrified to sleep, and the suspect is gonna get me while I'm sleeping tonight. So if y'all don't hear from me by like Friday, know that the suspect won. Know that I don't know. We tried.
These moments can be eye-opening for viewers who may not have considered the intersection of menstruation and gender identity. Mull's willingness to speak openly about such a usually avoided topic is commendable, and it provides validation for others in similar situations. That said, his tendency to over-dramatize, complete with yelling, stomping, and his trademark camera invasions, can dilute the gravity of what he's trying to convey. If there's one aspect of Mal's content that truly encapsulates his personality, it's his so-called gender adventures. These are the moments he celebrates as victories in his ongoing journey toward gender affirmation, ranging from being addressed by his preferred pronouns to small gestures of support from his family. These stories are often where Mal is at his most endearing, his excitement when a stranger casually calls him young man, or his joy when a family member affirms his identity is rather dramatic, though genuine and infectious. In these moments, his usually performative energy softens, revealing a glimmer of the vulnerable human side that often gets lost in his more bombastic content. That said, Mal's framing of these wins can sometimes feel overly self-congratulatory, as though he's seeking validation not just from the people around him, but from his entire online audience. While it's heartening to see someone take pride in their progress, the constant need to broadcast these moments can come across as performative, diminishing the authenticity of the experiences.
Sue had another gender adventure. I did. Not only did I get to try on a bunch of suits and get fitted for my first ever suit, but my brother and my mother, for the first time ever, introduced me to both of their different co-workers in a gender-neutral way. Hey, my baby brother works at a suit store, and he is very prim and proper, in particular about suits. He's always been kind of an old soul his whole entire freaking life. So, that's just the way he is. Anyways, when we walked into the suit store, my younger brother was like, "Hey Bob, how are you doing today?" "Yeah, my sibling over here is looking to buy a suit." And I was just like, "Let's go!" "Yeah, bro, let's go!" So then I got measured and I got to try on a bunch of different jackets. I learned so much about suits. I didn't get misgendered or get any weird looks. It was a very positive experience. And after I went to the suit store, me and my other brother had to go and help my mom, who works with the elderly. I've never been to my mom's work. I don't know what it looks like. It was my first time there. So my mom was all excited and gave me a tour. And then I met her boss. And my mom was like, "Oh, hi, boss lady. Yes, this is my child." Mom. My jaw was on the floor. I can't believe she finally introduced me and recognized me as me and not somebody else. And I could tell that my mom and my brother were both nervous to introduce me in a gender neutral way because they were scared they were gonna mess up or hurt me. But they literally killed it, and they made me so proud and so happy and so seen and loved, and I'm so happy. Not just once, but twice in one day. That is a win. That is a win, guys. And to top it off, my mom texted me that one of the old people said, "I have a very pretty face." Look, I love old people. Thank you. Thank you for hyping me up.
Mal's relationship with his family remains a recurring subplot in his TikTok saga. While he often highlights moments of support, such as his brother publicly acknowledging his pronouns or his mom introducing him with gender-neutral pronouns, he doesn't shy away from calling out their shortcomings. His nana, for instance, is still described as openly homophobic, while his brother is labeled as transphobic despite occasional gestures of acceptance. These dynamics provide a nuanced backdrop to Mal's content, illustrating the push and pull many LGBTQ+ individuals experience within their families. However, Mal's tendency to air these grievances publicly can feel exploitative at times, as though he's using his family's struggles with acceptance as fodder for content rather than addressing them privately. Mal's advocacy isn't limited to his personal experiences. He often sets his sights on larger institutions, with Disney being one of his more notable targets. In a now viral rant, he accused the entertainment giant of trying to erase trans stories, citing a lack of representation in their films and TV shows. Critics were quick to point out the irony of someone who often makes everything about himself, accusing a corporation of erasure without offering constructive suggestions for improvement.
Disney's refusing to air their new inclusive episode about a black trans athlete at a time when the world needs to hear this story the most. Not only are the visuals of this episode completely stunning, look, it's a little trans flag, but the actual message the episode gives will melt your heart.
Oh, we did everything right.
No, we didn't. It's like creepy hologram Greer said. To get out, you must follow my rules. I'm trans. My very existence breaks Greer's rules. Which means, as long as I'm a member of this team, we'll never escape. This is all my fault.
Brooklyn, you don't have to bottle this up and take it on all alone.
It's just, how many doors? How many doors do I have to break through until they stop locking me out? I'm so tired.
Then let us support you the way you support us.
I don't want to make my problems yours. I don't want to be a burden.
That's exactly how I felt when I asked people to use different pronouns for me. Was that a burden?
Of course not.
Exactly. Most people were happy to step up.
We're here for you.
Yeah, Brooke.
Let us step up for you.
Yeah, Brooke. We're here.
If I had seen that when I was a kid, it would have changed my life. Disney claims every Pride Month that they are our allies and that they support us in our community, but then go and shelve this episode over fear. Standing with our community means that you have our backs no matter what. You agree to help tell our stories and represent us and to fight when things are hard. This is not being a true ally or standing with our community. I'm calling out Disney to stand with our community and to release this episode because the world needs to hear this message more than ever. And I hope that we can make enough noise to help change their minds and for them to do what's right. Trans people are here. We belong. We matter, and our stories do not deserve to be erased.
On the flip side, his willingness to call out such a powerful entity speaks to his fearlessness as a creator. Whether or not you agree with his methods, there's no denying that Mal is unafraid to speak his truth to power, even if that truth is sometimes more about his own feelings rather than objective reality. Mal's content is a hodgepodge of contradictions. He's loud, performative, and often overwhelming, but he's also passionate, vulnerable, and deeply committed to his beliefs. His discussions about binders, periods, and gender adventures highlight the complexities of navigating the world as a transmasculine individual, offering both education and validation to his audience. For every moment of genuine connection, there's almost always a misstep that leaves viewers rolling their eyes or reaching for the block button. Ultimately, Mal's TikTok journey is a reminder that authenticity comes in many forms, and that even the most well-intentioned creators can struggle to find the right balance between advocacy and performance. Whether you love him or find him insufferable, there's no denying that Fuzzz99 is a uniquely polarizing figure in the online world. Every now and then, Mal takes a break from gender and sexuality discourse to dabble in lighter topics like Fortnite and Mac Miller's music. These tangents offer a breather from his usual content, giving his audience a chance to see a different side of him. His Fortnite commentary is, unsurprisingly, loud and chaotic, much like his approach to everything else. Whether he's ranting about the game's updates or celebrating a particularly satisfying victory, it's clear that gaming is more of a hobby than a passion. Still, it's refreshing to see him engage in something purely recreational, even if it's delivered with the same intensity as his advocacy. His love for Mac Miller, on the other hand, feels deeply personal. Mal often references Miller's music as a source of comfort and inspiration, sharing snippets of lyrics or anecdotes about how certain songs have resonated with him.
Mackie's still number one for me, baby. Got real nervous for a second there. Woo! Chapel Roan had a very strong chokehold on me. I won't lie. I literally have Mac Miller's words and name tattooed on my body though, so I don't know why I was sweating. I wish Mac Miller was still here and we could have got a message from him.
He even has tattoos of the now late artist's lyrics on his arm. I don't like the execution of the tattoo, personally, but if he likes it, then that's fine. It's one of the few areas where Mal lets his guard down, revealing a softer, more introspective side. Mal's exploration of gender, sexuality, and perception is undeniably ambitious. He tackles topics that many creators shy away from, bringing attention to identities and histories that deserve recognition. At his best, he's a passionate advocate who genuinely wants to educate and inspire. At his worst, he's an overwhelming presence whose delivery can overshadow his message. The key takeaway here is that Mal's content is a mixed bag. For those willing to sift through the noise, there's a wealth of valuable information to be found. But for others, his approach may be too grating to engage with. Either way, his willingness to tackle these topics, however flawed his execution may be, is some sort of proof of his commitment to the LGBTQ+ community and its ever-evolving scene. Fuzzz99 isn't just a TikToker, he's a symbol of the messy, beautiful complexity of being human in the 21st century. And whether you're laughing, scratching your head, or both, one thing's for sure, he's impossible to ignore. Sometimes, many times even, he has a good message hidden under all those layers of cringe and exaggerated expressions. Like in his New Year message, he urged people to take self-development one day at a time, instead of banking on New Year's resolutions that usually don't get past January. It was a pain to get through the entire video to get to the message, but the message was there regardless. Just watch this and let's see what you think. That's if you're able to watch it all in one sitting without puking all over your screen.
New year, new me, right, guys? No! Ah! Stop saying that! Stop, bro!
Why?
It's not new year, new me. It's new day, new me.
Huh?
If you keep saying new year, new me, you're just gonna be burnt out by the end of January and put it off till next year to deal with. Changing yourself and working on who you are takes time. So take it day by day, working on yourself little by little baby steps, man. And then when you look back, you'll see how far you've come. Sure, maybe you messed up yesterday, but today is a new day. Yesterday doesn't matter, it's what you do today. Maybe one of your videos flopped. Today's a new day, so get up and try again. Don't wait a whole year. Get up! Today's a new day and you are a new you.
Fuzzz99's content doesn't challenge or innovate, it just exists as a series of cringy, overdone moments that feel more like forced content than real creativity. The fact that so many people are eating it up says more about the state of TikTok culture than the value of his work. How has he managed to rake up 445.6 thousand followers on TikTok? That's a curious topic. He openly identifies as transmasc and as an LGBTQ influencer. At this point, he's less of an influencer and more of a content factory cranking out whatever will get a reaction. Is it funny? Sometimes, but let's be real, it's mostly just loud for the sake of being loud. And honestly, there's nothing revolutionary about that. His most viewed TikTok with 29 million views starts with a goosebump-inducing, hi, and proceeds to talk about hate being the reason why his comments are off. Like, hello, have you tried not being cringe? And stop calling everyone baby. Cringe is subjective. What some people call cringe might be pure gold to others. In fact, Fuzzz99's chaotic humor and over-the-top energy are the point. They're polarizing on purpose. His content thrives on being loud, messy, and unconventional, which is why it hits so hard with the Fuzzballs. Yes, his core audience have a name, Fuzzballs. I'm guessing the fuzz comes from the tiny hairs that now graze his chin. Yes, the same one he's obsessed with darkening. Just stop forcing what isn't there, okay? While Fuzzz99's content has amassed a loyal fanbase who adore his unique style, not everyone's a fan. Critics often label his videos as cringe, too exaggerated, too loud, too much. But is that not the essence of TikTok itself? Not many haters agreed, as his TikTok account got banned sometime in June 2023, causing the creator to fight tooth and nail to get it back. It's almost like it fueled him to push even harder and put out more content, much to the chagrin of said haters. In 2022, he chose to leave TikTok, because of the immense backlash he was facing. But many just chalk it up to attention-seeking behaviors.
Fuzzz99 has left TikTok. So Fuzzz99 just made a video saying that they're leaving TikTok because of what someone who doesn't like them did. They didn't really clarify what the person did, but they said that the police are involved and the police advised them to leave TikTok for a bit.
But I currently am being advised by the police to take a step back from TikTok. I have to take a break for a little while until a lot of this hate calms down. It might be a week, it might be a month, it might be a year, it might be forever. I truly don't know.
Critics haven't exactly been proven wrong yet, seeing as he has stuck to his brand of filming out of windows. What is that? A metaphor for coming out of the closet? It doesn't help that his flashing his pearly yellows don't get him any girls. His teeth might have a separate fandom. What with it competing with sunflowers and all, even his mom had to step in. Still no luck, until maybe recently. Poor girl. Maybe get in shape, invest in dental hygiene, work on yourself, and don't chalk it up to being authentic. Not him getting up close and personal with the camera just to educate us on his preferred niche.
Buckle up, because I'm about to blow your mind! Every creator on this app has something called a niche. They are known for a specific kind of content that they make. Some are well known and famous for making Minecraft videos. Some creators only make videos about them eating food. Some only make videos about doing makeup. And some like to bake cakes. I like to make videos about queer content. When I started making TikToks, my queer videos would always do the best. And I highly enjoyed it and was good at it. I have built a whole community here on TikTok. My followers wanna see all that gay shit. That is why they followed me. And I love learning things about our community and myself. And I love helping people. I really genuinely love helping people. Being queer isn't my whole personality. I like skateboarding, I like playing video games, I like making art, and I like getting up with my friends.
While he has highlighted the fact that creators usually show only one side of themselves online, it would be plain dishonest to claim that his entire personality isn't just him being queer. He claims to have diverse interests, but it's just one he keeps yelling at our screens for. But let's cut him some slack, he's only trying to stay authentic. In a space where authenticity often gets amplified to extremes, Fuzzz99's so-called cringe is, in many ways, a deliberate, artistic choice. Love it or hate it, it sparks conversation, and isn't that the mark of a true content creator? Especially a content creator whose main niche is centered on gender, sexuality, and people's perception to it. As ordinary as wearing a suit is, he found a way to make it into a whole thing where he pops open his camera and makes a fuss about getting to wear a full suit for the first time for a relative's wedding. Clothes are just clothes, right? Well, this guy clearly thinks it's a big deal.
Sue had another gender adventure. Guys, I got to wear my first ever full suit. That was mine. It wasn't stolen from my dad's closet. One of my cousins on my dad's side just got married, and her wedding was the first big wedding on my dad's side of the family. I knew months ago that I wanted to and was gonna wear a suit to the wedding, but I was a little nervous to do so, because I kind of had the only queer cousin on my dad's side, and I didn't know how the rest of my cousins were gonna react. I knew a bunch of my cousins were also wondering what the heck I was gonna wear, so that also made me nervous because I felt like I had to show up good looking, you know what I mean? A lot of pressure being the queer cousin, man. Anyways, it was a little weird when I first got dressed in a suit and was matching with my brothers and my dad, just because I'm not used to matching with my dad and my brothers. But we looked cute all stuffed and crammed in the back of the car together. When we got to the wedding though, most of my cousins didn't say anything except for my two older guy cousins. I had walked up to them to go say hi and they were like, yo, look at you, bro. Look at you in a suit. How you feel, dude? Pretty good, bro. You know, I mean, I've never worn a suit before. This is my first ever suit. So I'm not like 100% confident because like I don't know how to wear it. I don't know what I'm doing. But like it feels good. And then my other cousin who was standing there was like, here, bro, let me see your sleeves. Let me see your sleeves. Yeah, here, let me see them real quick. Yep, you're just there. You go, bro. That's how you're supposed to wear them. I got you, man. Now you're looking real good, bro. I'm like, the fact that my older cousins were hyping me up and helping me fix my suit to look good just like really meant a lot. and like, ah! I love them. I was so scared to wear that suit, and my mom didn't know what to make of me in a suit. She didn't hate it, but she wasn't like, oh my god, you look so handsome, you know? So having my older cousins hype me up and help me look good in my suit just meant the world. They probably didn't think twice about it, and it was just such a small little gesture. But it surely was a really big gesture, and made my whole experience, honestly. But yeah, I look pretty damn sexy in my suit, baby. Yes, sir! Let's go.
Many have told him to go get a life, especially following a video in 2023 where he claimed he's been putting TikToks every day since January 2020. His caption was rather heartfelt too. Well, kudos to him for consistently annoying his haters. Though I'm sure it must have come at a price, his mental health.
It's been 3 years of making TikToks every single day, and I physically and mentally don't know how I'm still doing this.
Sometimes the haters take it way too far, as he referenced being hate crimes and causing him to lose his job as a substitute teacher. Mal frequently frames himself as a martyr for the LGBTQ+ community, claiming to be misunderstood and vilified for no reason. But the reality seems more nuanced. For one, his dismissal as a substitute teacher raises eyebrows. He moved to address it candidly, although he first dances around the issue, leaving people to speculate. Several takes went on about losing his job, but it was subsequently put to rest by his 20-minute YouTube video where he describes the harrowing experience of being hate crimed. An unnamed source emailed the school where he worked pictures, thirst traps, culled from a video that was 4 years old at the time. Again, even the verity of this is in contention, as there are YouTube comments claiming a student from the school debunked his claims. Many people never got around to hearing out what he did to warrant it exactly, but just assumed he might have weirded out staff and students alike. Fuzzz99 is like that unfiltered, spicy flavor you either love or you don't. For people who like things clean-cut, structured, or easily digestible, his content might be a bit too much to handle. He's not about fitting into neat boxes, he's all about breaking out of them. But that's what makes him stand out. He's definitely an acquired taste, and for those who are open to the chaos, it's a whole vibe. It's like if you're willing to embrace the mess, you're rewarded with something real and raw. For the others, though, it might just seem like a lot to process. And honestly, his comment section on any given day sounds like the perfect reflection of Fuzzz99's whole vibe. Divisive, chaotic, and full of passion from both sides. That's the real magic of his content, though. It sparks conversation, whether it's love or hate. It's almost like he's a walking debate, and that's not easy to do in the world of quick-scroll content. At his core, Mull positions himself as a champion for LGBTQ+ rights and body positivity. These are important causes, and his passion for them is evident, but the way he goes about it often undermines the very message he's trying to send. Instead of educating and empowering, his exaggerated mannerisms and over-the-top persona play into the worst stereotypes about queer people being too much. It doesn't help that much of the LGBTQ+ community has distanced themselves from him. He even claims they do so to pander to the straights. But that couldn't be further from the truth.
It's so weird that VIP thinks they're so way too cool to do this.
While Mull claims he's vilified for no reason, the reality is more nuanced. People don't hate him for being queer, they're frustrated by how his antics reflect poorly on the broader community. Being loud and proud is one thing, but when it crosses into caricature, it stops being representation and starts being a problem. Mull's passion for advocacy is undeniable, and it's often buried under layers of staginess. His content feels less like a genuine attempt to educate and more like a desperate bid for attention. And that's the real tragedy here. Beneath the noise, there's likely a thoughtful, well-meaning person who deeply cares about the issues he champions. But that person gets lost in the performance. One of the most glaring examples of this disconnect is his tendency to frame himself as a martyr. Mull frequently paints himself as a misunderstood outcast, claiming people hate him for no reason. This narrative might earn sympathy from his core fanbase, but to outsiders, it comes across as self-pitying and disingenuous. Advocacy isn't about centering yourself in every conversation. It's about lifting up the people you're advocating for. He deserves his flowers, as not many things are as annoying as Fuzzy's "I'm glad you asked" drawl. Nobody asked, okay? Just leave our For You pages alone. Mal's content is steeped in LGBTQ+ advocacy, but the execution feels off. Yes, it's essential to promote body positivity and gender affirmation, but when that becomes the entirety of your personality, it can come across as one-dimensional. There is a fine line between representation and reducing yourself to a walking, talking hashtag. What makes this more troubling is the backlash from the LGBTQ+ community itself. Many queer creators have openly distanced themselves from him, criticizing his exaggerated expressions and cringe energy for perpetuating negative stereotypes. It's not that people hate him for being who he is, quite the opposite. The issue lies in his desperate need for attention, which manifests in over-the-top dramatics that overshadow his message. And the plan to carry Fuzzball toys around for fans who recognize him? While it's undeniably quirky, it's also a little much. The gesture might resonate with his core fanbase, but to outsiders, it reeks of a desperate attempt to stay relevant at a platform that thrives on fleeting trends. Here's the thing, Fuzzz99 does have potential. When he dials down the theatrics, his passion for advocacy shines through. He has a platform, and with it the ability to educate and inspire. If he could strike a balance between being relatable and being loud, he might find himself resonating with a broader audience. It's not about silencing him, it's about refining the message. Less martyrdom, more meaningful conversations. Less "look at me," more "here's what matters." Because at the heart of it, Mal seems to genuinely care about making a difference. It's just buried under layers of unnecessary noise. So Mal, if you're watching this, take a step back, reflect, and maybe, just maybe, invest in a good toothbrush. We don't hate you. We just wish you'd tone it down and let your true self shine. For all the noise, controversy, and antics that Fuzzz99 stirs up, it's easy to forget that there's an actual person behind the screen. A person with feelings, struggles, and a story that, like all of us, is far from perfect. It's tempting to zero in on the annoying quirks and larger-than-life performances, and several YouTubers have done just that, often rightly pointing out the cringe-worthy aspects of his TikTok presence. But perhaps what's more interesting is peeling back the layers and seeing what we can learn from Mal. Not as the TikTok sensation, but as a flawed, emotional, and deeply human individual. Some might say that he's disturbed, hence the need for an outlet like TikTok. Take, for instance, the aftermath of the US elections, a tense and overwhelming time for many. Mal, like countless others, was grappling with fear and uncertainty about what the political future might hold. In the midst of his collective anxiety, he shared that he'd gotten his period, an intensely personal experience for someone who identifies as trans-masculine. It was raw, vulnerable, and undoubtedly frustrating for him. Adding to the emotional weight, his supposedly transphobic brother showed up at his home, accompanied by his girlfriend and their baby.
Hi. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Cotton Eye Joe. Great song. Yeah, so after the elections happened, I fell into an unwell downward spiral and went to go fall off the face of the earth like I always do. I get off the internet, I talk to my friends, I do things that make me happy, but I wasn't able to fall off the face of the earth like I normally do because my transphobic brother moved back home and brought not only himself, but his girlfriend and her baby with them. Which made me feel suffocated and overstimulated, and I wasn't able to process all the feelings I was feeling from the election. Which then, of course, when it rains, it pours. And I got my period. And that very same night, I got my period. My cat Goose, who has been with me for 19 years and has been in a bunch of my videos that you've probably seen, unfortunately died from her battle from cancer that very night. Which then resulted in a very big fight. Because I felt like I didn't have space to process all of the emotions I was feeling. So I ran away for 3 days and my queer friends took me in and I was able to have the space to process all of my emotions. And we ended up channeling all our emotions into going to protest for trans rights. And I met a lot of cool trans people and queer people. And it's truly what I needed to feel better. Taking a mental health break, surrounding myself with my loved ones, and doing some good in this world have all helped me feel better. And you better believe that this hat This hat is gonna be visible on my head for probably the next 4 years, you know? So.
Behind the terrible cotton eye joke, it's not hard to imagine how isolating that must have felt for Mal. The tension of an already fraught sibling relationship, combined with the hormonal and physical toll of menstruation, would test anyone's mental health. Was it self-centered to frame these events around himself? To intertwine his personal struggles with the broader context of the elections? Perhaps. But in that moment, he wasn't Fuzzz99 the TikToker. He was just Mal, a human trying to make sense of a world that often feels overwhelming and unkind. One of the most poignant glimpses into Mal's humanity also popped to the surface when he revealed that his beloved cat was dying of cancer. Pets are more than just companions, they're family, offering unconditional love and comfort in ways that humans often can't. The helplessness of watching a beloved pet suffer is something that many of us can relate to. And for Mal, it must have been a pretty heavy blow. Yet even in sharing this deeply personal loss, Mal's tendency to center himself in the narrative was apparent. It wasn't just about the cat, it was about how the cat's illness affected him. It's a recurring theme in his content. No matter the topic, it always loops back to Mal. While this habit can be grating, it's also a stark reminder of how social media often becomes a coping mechanism for its creators. For Mal, TikTok might not just be a platform to share advocacy and opinions, it might also be a space for self-regulation, a way to process his emotions in real time and find a semblance of control in a chaotic world. Mal's ability to weave his personal life into broader societal issues like the US elections or gender identity debates is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it highlights his vulnerability and authenticity. He isn't afraid to put himself out there, flaws and all. On the other hand, it can come across as self-indulgent, as though he's hijacking collective experiences to make them about him. But maybe there's something to learn here. Aren't we all in some ways guilty of centering ourselves in the narrative of life? Whether it's posting a heartfelt caption on Instagram or venting to a friend, humans have an innate need to be seen and heard. Mal's platform just happens to amplify this tendency, making it more visible and perhaps more irritating. What stands out most about Mal isn't his shouting or his drama, it's his relentless humanity. He's messy, emotional, and often contradictory. He claims to champion inclusivity but struggles with self-awareness. He wants to educate but sometimes alienates. He seeks connection but can't seem to avoid centering himself in every interaction. And yet that's what makes him so deeply human. Life is messy and people are complex. Mal is no exception. For all his faults, there's something undeniably relatable about his journey. The way he turns to TikTok as a form of therapy, the way he struggles to reconcile his identity with the world around him, and the way he wears his emotions on his sleeve. These are all things we've likely experienced, albeit in less public ways. If there's a takeaway from Mal's story, it's this: it's okay to be imperfect, but self-awareness is key. While his content can be polarizing, it also serves as a reminder of the importance of balance. Advocacy doesn't have to mean yelling. Vulnerability doesn't mean oversharing. And being yourself doesn't mean making everything about yourself. For those watching, there's also a cautionary tale here. Social media can be a powerful tool for connection and self-expression, but it can also magnify our flaws and insecurities. Mal's journey highlights the need to set boundaries, not just with others, but with ourselves. At the end of the day, Mal is just trying to navigate life like the rest of us. He may not always get it right, but who does? For all the annoyance he inspires, there's also a strange kind of admiration in his willingness to be unapologetically himself, even when it's uncomfortable to watch. Maybe that's his greatest lesson: to embrace your humanity even when it's messy and imperfect, and to find ways to grow, one TikTok at a time. As Mal approaches his 30s, he should realize he's at a crossroads. Does he continue on this path of exaggerated performances and relentless self-promotion? Or does he take a step back and reassess his approach? There's no shame in evolving. In fact, it's necessary for growth. Imagine a version of Mal who dials down the histrionics and focuses on meaningful conversations. Imagine a version of him who channels his passion for art and skateboarding into content that inspires rather than exhausts. There's so much potential here, but it's currently overshadowed by the noise. Mal has a chance to be a powerful voice for change, but it requires self-awareness and a willingness to grow. At 28, he's not a kid anymore. It's time to take stock of his life and decide what kind of legacy he wants to leave behind. Thank you for sticking with me through this whirlwind journey into the fascinating and frustrating world of Fuzzz99. Love him or loathe him, there's no denying that Mal has carved out a unique, albeit divisive space in the TikTok universe. Whether he's inspiring change, sparking debates, or simply exhausting his audience, one thing's for sure, he knows how to keep us talking. So what's your take on Fuzzz99? Is he a flawed but earnest voice for queer representation? Or does his approach ultimately do more harm than good? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.